Hey guys, welcome to Fight or Flight Academy's quarantine workouts. We're all stuck at home with nothing to do, so might as well get some movement on. Remember, rule number 8, don't die.
Today, we're gonna do a nice stretch for your hamstring muscles. This guy right here. Your hamstring is a muscle that lifts your foot up like that. It's a really common muscle that gets injured in a lot of different sports. You've probably heard something before, oh, I pulled my hammy. So if we stretch that out really nice, hopefully that'll never happen. So a little bit about stretching first. A lot of people think that when you're stretching a muscle, you're actually literally stretching out the muscle fibers, and that's not really true. That doesn't happen until you get to like contortionist levels of flexibility, which you're probably not gonna get to, and you probably shouldn't. For most people's flexibility training, what you're actually doing is just training your brain that it's okay to be in certain positions and situations. For instance, let's do a little experiment here. I want you to try to find something in your house that's about hip height or so. Now, I want you to take one foot and put it up on there if you can. For me, this is relatively simple, and I'm not even really that flexible. But if you look at this angle that I'm hitting right about here, it's about 90 degrees. So I can do that on this side. I can also do it on the other side. Now, if I can do 90 degrees on both sides, I should be able to go into a full splits. That's 180 degrees, right? But there's no way. So there's no actual connective tissues connecting your legs together in the middle. Why can I not go all the way down to the splits if I can go up to here and I can go up to here? The reason is your brain doesn't want you to. It thinks you're going to hurt yourself if you go down that far. So once you start going there, your muscles tense up and hold them in place. Like, no, we're going to tear. So that's what's actually keeping you from going down farther. When you stretch, you're putting yourself into a situation where your brain starts to freak out, but then you just kind of hold it there until your brain relaxes and you're retraining your nervous system that it's okay to go farther. So that's why to gain flexibility, you actually have to hold a stretch for quite a long time. In this video, we're going to be doing some long hold stretches. You might want to have some music playing or something because it might get a little boring when you're just sitting there upwards of 5 minutes. So to start with, we're going to start in a nice straddle, about double your hip width or so. It doesn't really matter how far you go. You can be closer together if you want. Keeping your knees relatively straight. You can bend them a bit if you need to, but try to just lean forward towards the floor as far as you can. And then back up again. Get a nice extension. Back down forward. And back up. This is really just kind of a warm-up. You're not trying to put any actual stress into the stretch. Just push it down to maybe like half as much as you normally would if you're actually stretching. A couple more times. And last one. Now let's bring it down to 1 foot on the side here. And then bring it across to the other side. We go back and forth a couple of times. One more time on each side. Now we're going to bring it across and go all the way up. Back down on this side, to the middle, and then up the other way. All the way around, down to the middle. Back up, around, down to the middle. Up and around, and down to the middle. One more time on each side. And last one, up and around, and back down to the middle. All right, now let's take a seat. Straddle it out as far as you're comfortable down here. If you can't really get into this position, it's perfectly okay, and I even recommend taking something like a towel and sitting on it. If you raise your butt off the ground just a little bit, you can make these stretches considerably easier and you're gonna get a lot more out of it. So now that we're in our nice little straddle position, we're gonna think about our hips. For this guy, I want you to think about lifting your tailbone up nice and high, which is gonna arch your back, and you're gonna think about pushing your belly button down towards the floor and relax. And then we're gonna do the other way. Sink your tailbone down, which kind of folds you forward, and put your head down towards the floor. Back up, tailbone up, belly button down, tailbone down, forehead down. Tailbone up, and tailbone down. Belly button towards the floor, forehead towards the floor. Belly button towards the floor, forehead towards the floor. We're gonna do these 5 more times. 1, 2, 3. Don't forget to breathe. 4. Last one. And 5. Now that we're all relatively warmed up, we're going to get into the actual stretching. So I want you to find a wall like this. You're going to sit right next to the wall. Get as close to it as you're comfortable. And then just sink down into this nice straddle. This shouldn't really feel too much like a stretch. Kind of let gravity do the work for the most part. We are going to sit here for 5 minutes. So just try to breathe and enjoy it. Five minutes can really seem like a long time. You're just sitting here. But that's the kind of time that you really need if you want to gain flexibility. I see a lot of people holding stretches for like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, and they think that's going to make them more flexible. It just doesn't really work that way. After a little while, hopefully you'll notice that it doesn't really feel like as much of a stretch anymore. You can let it go down a little bit farther. Again, don't forget to breathe. The more you can relax, the more you'll get out of your stretch. So try to relax through your breathing. Every time you breathe out, think about just softening all your muscles. Just a minute and a half left. We're almost there. Remember, if it doesn't feel like much of a stretch anymore, push it down just a little tiny bit farther. And that's 5 minutes. So apparently my camera stopped recording right as we finished this nice long straddle stretch on the wall. So here I am back. We just finished that stretch, so use your hands if you need, pull your feet together, take it nice and slow. Probably feels a little bit weird right now. Bring it in, roll over to the side, maybe shake the legs out a little bit, and make your way up into standing position again. Take your time, shake it out. Now what we're gonna do next is just a basic, straightforward fold. Now with this, I mentioned earlier with the hip positioning, tailbone up, tailbone down, you can hit different parts of this posterior chain. If you wanna stretch more down here into the actual hamstring muscle, then you can lift your tailbone up as you push forward. If you wanna get up here into the lower back, you can push your tailbone down and go forward. I'm just gonna kind of keep a neutral position where it hits wherever it needs to. All we're really trying to do is make it feel like a stretch. Your body's gonna find the place where it needs the stretch the most. So if you know that you need here or there, feel free to play around with it. Or if you did this video once and you found something you liked, go back to it again. But for the most part, if you just kind of relax, your body will find where it wants to be. So we're gonna start with our feet just directly under our hips with your toes pointed straight forwards. Just relax downwards, reach towards the floor. It doesn't matter if you actually touch the floor. Don't go down too far. You should go down to the point where you feel a stretch, but not to the point where it hurts. Stretching should never actually hurt. So we're gonna hold this guy for 1 minute. Straight down, go for it. Don't forget to breathe. You don't have to keep your knees fully extended. You can have a slight bend if you need, that's perfectly fine. Just find a nice, relaxing stretch. And time. Come back out of it nice and slow and easy. Shake it out a little if you need. Now the hamstrings that we're focusing on right now, there's actually 3 different muscles back here. The one that we were doing right there with your toes pointed forward, that really only hits one of those muscles. So now we're gonna try to hit the other ones. For this guy, you're gonna put your heels together and point your toes outwards. And we're gonna do basically the exact same stretch again. Again, if you need to have a little bend in your knees, that's fine. You can play around with your hip positioning depending on what you need. We're just gonna reach down here and hold this guy for 1 minute. Go for it. And time. Again, bring it up nice and slow and easy. That one probably felt a little bit different, maybe better, maybe worse. Doesn't really matter either way. Everybody's going to be a little bit different. Now the last one, this one's a little strange. You're going to point your toes together with your heels apart. As we go down to this one, your knees are kind of going to want to bend, so try to keep them as straight as you can. We're going to do this guy for another minute. Go for it. Remember, don't forget to breathe. And time. Bring it back up nice and slow. Whew, shake out those legs again. We've got one more stretch that we're going to go through. This one's a little bit more intense, so we're going to take it a little slower. You're going to set yourself up like so. One toe's pointed that way, one toe's pointed 90 degrees out that way. The distancing here doesn't really matter too much. You can be wider, you can be narrower, whatever's comfortable for you. But you're going to take your hips and your upper body and you're going to turn it towards that front leg. Now, lift your tailbone up again, like I said before, and you're going to try to push your belly button and your chest straight forwards and down. I'm going to hold this guy for 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Bring it back up. Again, tailbone up, lean it forward, 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. One more time like that. Tailbone up and lean it forward, 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Now we're going to do that same thing on the other side. So, toes pointed forward, toes pointed to the side. Turn your hips towards that front foot. Lift your tailbone up. 10 seconds. Push it forward. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Nice big deep breath in between each one of these. 2 more times. And tailbone up, lean it forwards. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Last time. Hips over, tailbone up, lean it forward, feel that stretch. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. Woo! Well, there it is. Hopefully you're feeling nice and stretched and ready to go have the rest of your day.